So can we say that is design thinking a way to solve problems using creativity? Well, the answer is yes and no. No, because it's not the only tool that is required to solve a problem. In fact, and yes, because it is one of the most important and differentiating tools that a designer has to offer. So can we say design thinking is a way to identify the problems through curiosity? Of course, yes. It also is about feeling the problem with empathy and bringing fresh perspectives through creativity. And of course, design thinking is definitely a way to refine the solutions through tenacity. We can say that curiosity, empathy, creativity, and tenacity all put together would actually help you to solve any problem. And interestingly, I've been able to design more than 700 products for clients across 20 countries, which have won 34 awards in various industry verticals. You could talk about appliances, consumer electronics, automation, switch gears. In fact, toys and housewares and kids products as well, where design thinking has been proven to be very, very beneficial. So what is the first tenet of design thinking, which is actually curiosity? And let me show you what curiosity is all about when you talk about the process of innovation. As you all can see, this product this is a regular bulb holder, and it has been there for, I think, about 100 years. But it didn't seem to change, because I think we didn't have enough curiosity to question the status quo, that why should this product look the way it does for over a century. So I had this curiosity in mind that can we do something about it? And I started working around this product and realized that the notches and the details made the product look very, very industrial in nature. And it didn't have that elegance in it. So I started working around the form factor and how do I actually make it look more elegant. And the one which you see on the screen is the iconic bulb holder, which has actually sold more than 3,500 million pieces in the past 2 decades. And I'm really proud to be part of the team who created this great feat of changing the status quo from a regular bulb holder to a very well-designed product, which has actually become a standard in the industry these days. Another interesting observation. Now, if you look at this site, this is a very common site in an everyday life scenario. You would see this cloth pegs, and so what's the problem with it? Apparently, nothing. But if you look closely, you'll find that the pegs have metal in it, and they leave rust marks in your clothes. And also, they tend to get brittle and dry out because they're always in the sun. So what is the problem, which is, why didn't we notice it? There's a concept called habituation, which actually stops us from actually noticing a problem which is there. And curiosity is the way to beat habituation. And if you're curious, you'll understand things more intriguingly. If you see this example, the clip, now I have removed the pin, and it doesn't leave rust marks anymore. And in fact, this won me the prestigious German design award called the Red Dot in 2010. So coming to the next tenet of design thinking is empathy. Well, there are 3 kinds of empathies to sum it up. It's cognitive, emotional, and compassionate. But let's not get too much detail into it, and let's just put it simply. That genuine needs are often felt, but seldom spelt. Let me show you an example of this. If you look closely at the image, you'll notice there's a chef doing something in the kitchen. But if you look closely, you'll also notice that there's a switch plate behind him on his left. And the switch plates are not actually located the way they're supposed to be. They're all oriented in a vertical manner. But we are normally used to using a switch plate which is in a horizontal fashion. So there's a huge cognitive load. It happens because when you turn it around, you'll see that you now suddenly do not know which side is on and which side is off. So that's a huge cognitive load, and it definitely an area where I felt we could do something about it, because I really felt a genuine need to be solved. And what was the reason behind it? The reason was pretty simple. The socket size was rectangle. It was 42 by 45. So I did a very simple thing. I converted the rectangle to a square, 45 by 45, and now you could, by the virtue of a square, because it's all the same from all the sides, you could now easily switch rotate the switch plate from vertical to horizontal or any other orientation, and still have the switches in the standard orientation, so that you don't have that cognitive load anymore. Another very interesting example of where we could say that the solution lies with the problem itself, something I called contextual innovation. I noticed while on my way some time back in 2000, I think around 1998 to 2000, I was working with a newspaper as a sub-editor, and in the late night shift. And while I was coming back from office, I noticed this, that the newspaper guys were actually rolling up the paper and throwing it to various heights in the apartments. And I felt that it was something really humongous task, a humanly difficult task, which they were doing on a daily basis. And I realized, could I do something about it? And a very silly thought, but then I created the first newspaper dispenser. And it was a very interesting concept, and I presented it at a national level design competition, and it actually won me my first design award, and which was a very big impetus for me to actually join the trade of industrial design and practice design thinking. I think I was already doing it, but I wasn't aware of it. So I went to NID, National Design, Ahmedabad, and during my stay at NID, while I was coming back, obviously students, not much of money in our pockets, so we used to travel by trains. And another interesting observation which I made during one of those many travels was that the Indian toilets in the lavatories in the trains. So as you can see in the image, you'll see that you have the space, of course. There is water because you have the tap. But interestingly, there is no mug to use the water to wash after defecation. So I was struck with an idea of, can I make a foldable toilet mug out of paper? And why paper? Because I remember most of us would use paper cups or cut those plastic bottles and then use it to wash after defecation in the train toilets. So this was a very interesting idea which I had come across, that if I could make a paper toilet mug foldable, it could go into your pocket and it could be sold at ₹5 a pack of 3, then I think everyone would have a comfortable wash after the defecation. And I'd also thought that the rag pickers along the track could also, if they're trained, because it was a very simple technique of folding a square piece of paper and converting into a mug, they could be taught how to actually fold this and create this mug, and eventually earn a bit of livelihood through creating this product as well. And this product actually won me, I was a finalist at the Index Award in Denmark, and it won me the Business World Design Excellence Award as well, and it is now in the permanent collection of the Design Museum in Denmark. And to my surprise, this got noticed by Shri Narendra Modi, and I was awarded as the Designpreneur Award for creating this disposable toilet mug for the Indian Railways. Well, it was a very interesting brief from the marketing team of LG Electronics. They wanted to design India-specific LCD television. So we started visiting the shops and trying to understand that what can we do to make it India-specific, because the product itself is so global. So if you look closely at the image, there are a lot of televisions displayed on the tabletop, and the certain images which are there high on the wall. And if you notice clearly that the man is looking at the televisions on the top. The reason is, at that point in time, televisions going up on the wall was something very, very interesting. You could do away with the stand, you could do away with those bulky CRT TVs, and LCD was something where it would go up on the wall. That was something new in the country, and everyone wanted to own that piece of technology. But with that came another problem. Now that you have done away with the product, you've also done away with the product setup, which is the furniture below the CRT TVs. But now still, we are using DTH boxes and other such appliances, electronic devices, along with the television. So what is happening is that we are using these glass shelves or doing some jugaad to actually place them. Because the television has gone on the wall, and there's no clue of where the stand is. So what has happened is that the company has invested in the stand, but which has found no value. The consumer has no value to the stand, but yet is paying the price for it. So I was struck with an idea that can I actually design the stand itself in such a manner that it converts into a shelf, so that when you buy the television, bring it home for a day or two, you could enjoy it on a stand till the guy comes and actually does the installation on the wall. And once it is on the wall, you could actually have the shelf to your disposal to place your DTH boxes on. Well, that's me with the Korean team developing the final prototypes for the product. And it was launched in India. It was specifically called Designed for India, and it was a transform LED TV. And it was widely accepted by the Indian market. Coming to the third tenet of design thinking is creativity. Well, personally, I believe it's all about connecting the disconnected. And let me show you how. Of a brief given by Whirlpool marketing team was about design a refrigerator that looks taller than our competition. Again, we started off with visiting various homes, and we noticed that people are using various kinds of jugaad, or rather small plastic tables or wooden furnitures to raise up the height of the refrigerator. While the brief was very interesting, it was a business problem they were trying to solve. They wanted to create a refrigerator which looked taller than the competition without increasing the cooling capacity. So how could we do that possibly? So what we tried to do is that we again went to homes, and as I said, I noticed something very, very interesting here. I noticed these trays which we use to store our onions and potatoes, which actually do not require refrigeration. So again, as I said, creativity is about connecting the two disconnected things. I joined together these two product ideas of having a standee to increase the base height of the refrigerator, and a bucket to store the basket to store the onions and potatoes together. Well, that's me at the Whirlpool factory in Ranjangaon near Pune, building the first prototype of the product which became an instant hit once it was launched by Whirlpool, and it's called the utility drawer. So, and that's me doing the user feedback survey once we actually built the prototype, and this was launched by Whirlpool. And interestingly, now the final product is taller than the previous one, and it doesn't look like a jugaad because now it is well designed and has a very sophisticated look to it. So the marketing problem was solved through design thinking, and interestingly, this has become a standard in the trade, with every other brand adapting this idea of a utility drawer to increase the height of the refrigerators. Well, as we realize probably that design thinking simplified is an innovation process, and when we talk about innovation, it's actually tenacity is something which is very, very important, because I always believe you only fail when you stop trying. Let me show you an example, which I had taken up as a challenge of how to crack a coconut. As you can see on these images of various tools which people actually are using, various mechanisms which people have devised to actually do such a small, simple task. I tried exploring different ways of actually cracking a coconut, and I realized that there are either two possibilities. The coconut goes to the tool, or the tool comes to the coconut. So let me show you some of the sketches which I had done while exploring. And because I'm talking about Tenacity, I had probably made more than 1,000 sketches of different ways of actually coming to simplify the process of how do you actually crack a coconut. And the problem which I was trying to solve is that in modern day homes, you actually do not have a space where you can actually crack a coconut. So eventually I came up with a solution which was a basic tray with a solid edge where you could wham the coconut and it would break into a piece, half, and the water would not even spill out, and it would actually be stored in the periphery of the product. And this was the first product which had applied for a patent way back in 2002. And with that, I think I would like to conclude and give you the certain small tips and tricks of actually how to become a design thinker. The key takeaways could be design for people. Always keep in mind that you have to be very empathetic towards the people, be very observant, because that's how you'll find various opportunities to improve everyday life. Look for the root cause and not the symptoms, because if you solve the symptoms, the problem is surely to come back again. So don't start solving the problem. Ask the question, why is it that a problem in the first place? And thirdly, continuously test and prototype. As you would have definitely seen in the how to crack a coconut example, that I didn't want to stop at any point where I felt that the solution was not the best for my user. So always try and prototype things. And the last but not the least, success begins with willingness. So cultivate curiosity, develop empathy, nurture creativity, and practice tenacity. Thank you.